Okay, so now we're going to be working with one of my more favorite formatting tools, and that is or are the bullet and the numbered bullet and the multi-level list bullet, okay, or bullets. And this is a great way of presenting information, all right? It's one thing to have everything all loaded up into a paragraph, but it's another to have a point-by-point listing of things, right? And this is a good idea as well when you're doing emails. Instead of just going on, paragraph after paragraph of what you want done at the other end, you can have maybe an opening paragraph and underneath that, break it down into the steps that you want them to go through, that type of thing. So there's really good reason for using bullets, and I would say that almost in any document that you ever maybe put together, you're probably at some point going to want to maybe use some sort of bulleting or multi-level list here. So without further ado, let's take a look at this. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here. There we go. Okay. All right, so let's say that I've got this opening paragraph here, and what I'm going to do in between the two, I want to put in just a regular bulleted list, right? And so what we'll do here then is we click at the end of this paragraph here, hit the enter key as if we wanted to start a new paragraph, and then from here we'll type in what we need to type in. Now you can either type in your 5 or 6 lines of bullet and then go back to it and select that area and tell it what type of bulleting you want to do, or you can just turn on the bullets ahead of time, and as you do line after line, you'll see the bullet automatically go in there. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start out with what I would call the character type bullets, which will be, this is in the home tab. In the paragraph area here, we've got this guy right here, the bullets. Now, if you click on the face, you just get the default, whatever it is. I think it's a circular bullet. If you hit the little drop down, it shows you a number of different ones that you can go with. So in this case, let's just say I want to go with the little square here. So I'll click onto that, and you'll see how that comes up in there. And now what I'm going to do is, I don't want to waste your time having to wait for me to type. So I'm just going to type in gobbledygook here, all right? But what I'll do is I'll just start typing like this, see? And there's my first bullet, all right? Now, keep in mind, if I wanted it to be more than one line, as I type, it's going to word wrap, but it's going to have a nice little new margin that it's going to stay on. So it's going to make it very easy to read when you're doing that. Then when you're ready to put the next one in, hit the enter key, and you start typing that next one, just like that. All right, so that's pretty cool. I like typing like that because it just doesn't take any time at all. Oh, look, we have a grammar error here. I'm just going to right click on that, or is it? It's not. It looked like one, huh? I'm going to do one more here. So I'll go to the end here. Actually, what I'll do is I'll put one in between. So I'll go to the end of the first one here, right? Hit the enter key, and there we go. I can put that one in. And there we have it, just like that. Now, if you'd like to have an extra space in between there, you've got a couple ways you can do this. The first way would be to tell it that you want to add spacing, after each of the bullets, all right? And the other way would be just to say, you know what, I'm just going to put an extra line of space between each bullet. Now, I'm going to do the latter one first, and then I'll do the other one. I'll show you the difference here. So you can click onto here, all right? And then on your keyboard, we're going to do a Shift Enter, all right? Now, let me just tell you this reason why we're doing this way. If I hit the Enter key, I'm going to get a bullet, all right? And now people say, well, that's okay, because then you can just hit the backspace key, and that will get rid of it, but it won't. So it gets to be a mess there. Right, so better way would be to hold down your Shift key, right, at the end here, hit the Enter key, and what you've in essence done is you have kind of done a word wrap. It's almost like as you were typing here, it eventually wrapped, to the next line. I just did a word wrap by using a soft return. The soft return is holding down the Shift key and hitting the Enter key, see? So I can do that one there. I can go to here, do a shift enter, and there we go. And of course, sometimes, you know, because we've got the full justification turned on, we're getting it to look like this. So on this one, what you can do is you can click on that paragraph anywhere there, go up into your paragraph area here and just say I want that to be left aligned, and there we have it. All right. And it's going to look a little funny, but that's just the way it is. All right. So if I go back and make it fully justified, it's going to do that on me. Now you can try to do this where you go to the end there, hit the enter key, and it does that for you, and then you try to maybe backspace it a couple times, but then it goes back to that way again. So just something to kind of think about. Oop. All right. Anyway, so, and it's only because we've got such weird looking words here that it's not fitting very well. All right. But in any event, though, that's what we have. Now, the alternative would be this. I'm going to go back in here, and I'm going to backspace out the spacing or delete it, whatever. My delete key, there we go. Okay, now, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to say that on the first two paragraphs, all right, I want to add a little bit of spacing. So in other words, I don't want to add any more spacing than what I have here, but I want to add a little bit of space in between this bullet and the next bullet as far as between the paragraphs, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to select just those two lines there, or those two bullets. Then we're going to go back into the format, or into the paragraph dialog box. And over here it says don't add space between paragraphs. See, because we're doing bulleting, this automatically gets turned on, and that keeps it from having the normal, you know, spacing that you'd have, like the 8-point of spacing between each bullet. We don't really want to have 8-point of spacing there. Now, if we did, we can actually just take this check mark off, leave the 8-point there, hit OK, and there we go. That'd be fine. On the other hand, if you want to maybe have it where it has a different amount of spacing, you would just go back in there and tell it, okay, I want it to be, you know, 6-point of spacing or 5-point. But I think this looks okay. I think that looks all right the way it is. So we'll just leave it like that. But at least you have an idea of how you go about making that happen. Okay, let's dig a little bit deeper with this now. Let's say what we have here is good, except I don't really like the amount of space that's either between, you know, the beginning of the margin and where the bullet starts, or between the bullet and the actual, you know, paragraph here, all right? So what if I wanted to change those things? How would I do that? So here's what you do. Because we want to do it to all of them, not just one, we need to select all three of them, all right? You don't have to perfectly select it. As long as the highlight is touching the three like that, you can get away with it. But, you know, if you just don't feel comfortable with that, you can just go ahead and just make sure everything's all selected there just like that, okay? Now, when you do that, and you look up on your ruler here, let me just pull that down just a little bit so it's not as distracting there. Okay, so you'll notice here that our little markers that we used before for our indenting have been kind of moved around here a little bit. Well, what's happened is that the first marker at the top, that represents the position of where the bullet is, right? So you see that, how that kind of lines up there. And the middle one here is the position of where the paragraph starts. Now, if your thought is, I'd like to have a little bit more space between the two, I don't think you should, but let's just say you did, then all you'd have to do is go to this little middle marker, the hanging indent, hold down your mouse. You can see a little line appear. See that right there? That little vertical line to give you an idea where you're at. And you can just kind of pull it over just a little bit like that. Let go, you're done. All right? That's pretty easy to do. On the other hand, if you wanted to maybe change the position of the bullet to the paragraph or the bullet to the margin, you can actually do the top marker here, either drag this back like that or drag it like this, see, either one. You don't want to get this too close. If you get it too close, you're going to get something like that happening, almost like a tabbed effect there, right? So kind of keep it, you know, give yourself some space there. It doesn't look good like that. Anyway, so get yourself to where you want it to be. Let's say like that. Let go, and that's it. And now what's really cool about this now is that if I go to the end of this one here, hit the enter key, and start typing, right? That'll be, it'll give me the same positioning there. Now you're sitting there saying, well, what happened there? I don't see the spacing. Well, remember before we told it that we wanted to have the spacing just on those first two paragraphs. So now what we're going to have to do on this one is go to the third paragraph, right? Go back into our paragraph dialog and tell it that we don't want to add space, or it's not that we, and here it says don't add the space, so I don't want to, don't. So I'll turn that off like that, hit OK, and there we go. All right. And let me just show you one other thing with that. If I go now to the last one, right here, hit my enter key, type in whatever I need to type in, got that same problem, right? Now, instead of having to click back on the paragraph, I'm going to go up there and do that thing, which is not a big deal. You could actually click onto this paragraph here, all right? Click on your format painter, and then click on anywhere under this paragraph here. Oh, it's not doing it for me now. Might have to do this. Select this whole thing here, all right? Hit your painter, right? And then go ahead and select this paragraph here. Still not doing it. That's where it's not doing that. Well, again, I was wrong. I'm probably doing something wrong, and I'm not going to sit here and try to figure it out. But what I'll do then instead is what? Remember what we have to do? We just go to here, go to our paragraph, take off the check mark, hit OK. There we go. Okay. Anyway, next thing. Let's say that you are tired of this bullet. You want to go with a totally different bullet. All right? So, but one that's not in the list either. So what we're going to do here is we're going to select the whole range here, okay, that we've bulleted. We're going to go back into the bullet button here. We're going to hit the little drop-down arrow. And this time, we're going to go down to where it says Define New Bullet. Okay? And here we have it. No problem so far. We have this stuff up here. All right? And we've got symbols. We've got picture-type bullets, which are horrible. And we've got something else for the font. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But what we'll do here is we're going to go into the symbol, all right, and you're brought to this. Now, depending on the bullet that you were using dictates what this comes up as. So this actually, the bullet we were using actually came from the Wingding collection. So if you ever wondered why we have fonts that are, symbols and not actual characters, it's so that we can use them when we're bulleting, okay, especially. Now, this happens to be the Wingding, so you might say, okay, let me take a look at here and see if I can see anything that I might have. So I'll go to the top of the list, got all this stuff. I got little skulls and crossbones, I got bombs, I got everything in here, right? And I can kind of scroll through that. So if I find one in there that I like, that's great. I would click it, hit OK, and it would change that to be the bullet for everything. If this isn't good enough for you, you might say, okay, what other choice do I have? You click on the little drop-down arrow up here, scroll down a little bit, you'll see Wingdings 2. All right, more characters here, right? And then we also have Wingdings 3. And this is mostly like arrows and things like that. So you find the one that you want. Now, the other thing we have too is we also have something called Webdings. And these are almost like little icons, like logos or whatever in here, right? So you can use one of these things. So you might say, oh, I like that spider, right? So you click onto that, all right? And you go ahead and hit OK. And there we go. Now I'll hit OK again, and there it is. Now what happened is it then goes and changes back to what I had originally as far as the spacing goes. So I might have to go back in there and say, well, I need to move this over just a little bit and, do something like that. But other than that, we're pretty much set. Now, the bullet takes on the coloring of whatever you have in this area. Now, what we're using is just the default, black that we're using. So if you wanted this to be a different color, the bullet, what you would do is you go back in your little drop down, go to Define New Bullet, But right here, we'll jump over here to font, all right? And in font, we'll say where it says font color, no color, meaning just the default. We're going to change it to whatever color. So let's say we want it to be maybe a blue, right? So we click onto that, hit OK, and there we go. And again, you'll have to go back in there and change the spacing, you know, back to what you had it there with, but there you go. So that's not bad. All right, now another type of bulleting we can do is the numeric bulleting, right? Now, in this case, what I'm going to do, let me go to another paragraph here. We'll go down to here. Okay, so I'm going to go right here. You know what, actually, you know, I want to show you something with this, so I'm going to go back up here. This got kind of messed up here. I'm just going to delete that. All right, so there we have it on that. Now, what I can do is I'm going to go and put, you know, the numeric bulleting underneath this one here. Now, we got that thing set up where it doesn't let us split up the paragraph, and that's why we have this extra room here, because the whole thing had to go onto the next page here. But that's okay. We can still use this extra space here if we want. So we'll click at the end here, hit the Enter key, and now this time we're going to go up here and click onto the drop-down arrow next to the numeric one here. And you got all these different choices here. Now, you've got Arabic, you've got Alpha, you've got Roman, all right? Take your pick. So let's just say we want to go with the 1 period, 2 period, 3 period here with the Arabic. So we click onto that, and there's your number 1. Okay, so on this one, I'll do my usual blah, 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 enter, blah, 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 enter. I'm probably going to spell something bad at some point doing this here, but that, okay. So I got the 3 in there. Now, if I go back to the end of the first one, hit my Enter key, look at that. It renumbers everything. So that's really kind of a cool thing to do there. Hit the Enter key again, type in whatever here, and there we go. So not bad stuff. And again, you can change, you know, the spacing that we have here between the bullet and the paragraph and all that. So we won't bother with that right now. We did it already. But you can also go back in there and say, well, I think I want to maybe switch it from being, let's say, the numeric one here. So to change that, all I have to do is just click on, I just make sure it's selected, click up here, and I can just pick whatever I want to go with. So if I want to go with Alpha instead, I can just click on my ABC, and I've got that. All right. So pretty good stuff there. Now, let me show you something here. Let's say that you've got bulleting here, and you got bulleting here, obviously, right? Let's say that, well, before I do that, let me just do one thing here. Actually, forget it. Here's what we want to do. I want to change this to it being numbered, either 1, 2, 3, ABC, but some sort of numbering. And then at the bottom on this one here, have this also be the same, but where it continues it. All right. So let's do this first. I'm going to go back up to the top on this one, select that area, and tell it that I want to go with my, let's just say I'll go with my ABC. All right. So there it goes on that one there. So there that is, right? And then I'm going to go now down here. We got it set for ABC. Now let me just do one little thing here. I'm going to select all this, go back into my paragraph dialog and tell it that I want spacing between each of them, and 8 point is just fine. I take off the check mark there, hit OK, there we go. That's going to kind of continue down there. Now currently is ABCDE, ABCDE, right? I want this to start as F, all right? So while I've got that selected already, I can do a right click on it, all right? And I can tell it to continue numbering, right? So I click onto that, and there we go. Look at that. That's pretty cool. So now if I go, let's say to this one here, hit the enter, obviously it renumbers, right? And you can see we got down to F, and then over here, then we got G, H, I, J, K. Not bad, right? If probably maybe for some reason you decide, hey, I don't want it to be like that anymore, I'll go and I'll select this, right click it, and now I'll say restart at A, see? And that's all you have to do. All right. Same thing would be true if I did the numbering instead. So if I selected this and changed it from alpha, let's say, to Roman, all right? So I click on a Roman there, and I'll select this area here, and make this also a Roman. So we go on that one. So it's restarted here, so I can go to here, right click it. Oops, sorry, select that whole thing there. So get this area selected like that, all right? Right click it, and then we can say continue numbering, right? And there we go. That's pretty neat. All right, now let me jump down here a little bit. I'm going to show you now another type of number. I'm just going to find some open area here. We'll do it here. All right, so I want to show you now how we can do a multi-level type numbering, okay? And you've seen it where you see it might be like a Roman numeral 1, Roman numeral 2, and then you might see A, B, C underneath the 2, and then it goes back to Roman numeral 3, and so on and so forth. Okay, we're going to start out very slow on this, and then we'll kind of build into it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the Enter key, start a new line here, right? And I'm going to go with my numbering, all right? And I'm going to go with just the plain old, like 1, 2, 3 here, all right? So I'm going to start typing. There's my first one. There's my second one. Now, what I want to do next is I need to move in a level and have it be looking like it's a sub of number 2. So the way you can do this, there's 2 ways you can do this. Either on your keyboard, you would hit the Tab key, or in this case, let me show you here. Hit the Tab, just like that, and I get A, type in whatever, right? Enter, okay, and so forth, right? Now, hit my Enter key again, it brings me to C, but now I want to go back to being, for that to be number 3. So before, when we hit the Tab key, that progressed it out. If we hold down the Shift key and then hit the Tab key, it goes back, see? So then I can go ahead and put that one in, Enter key, that one in, Enter key, that one in, all right? All right, now, there's a little extra space there. Get rid of that. Okay, so now I want to make number 4 indent, you know, and basically become A, all right? So what I do is I click on to the beginning here, all right? Hit the Tab key, and there you go. And then I can go to the end of that, hit the Enter key, type in something else, and just go on and on with this. Now again, if this is a little too tight, what we can actually do is we can select that whole range, right? Go back into the paragraph and tell it that we don't want that extra space, right? Or in other words, we do want the extra space, you know, the 8 point of space, so we're going to take that check mark off, hit OK, and there we go. Kind of stretches out a little bit, but I think that looks okay. If you think that's too much, you know, select it and then change that number from 8 maybe to 7 or 6. You can kind of go from there. But you know, this looks fine. Now let me show you something else with this as well. Now, so far we just have the 2 levels here, you know, first and second level here. If I go, let's say, to this one here, hit my Enter key, I get letter C here. Now if I hit the Tab again, it goes in like that, see? And now I've got like a Roman number 1 there, Roman number 2, and so forth, right? And just so, let me just show you one other thing here. And I didn't really show this to you in the other, you know, outlining that we were doing, but we could have done it there. If you want to have a second line underneath this, lined up, but without a number, okay? What you can do is you can click right here, hold down the shift key. We did this earlier. Hold down the shift key, hit the enter key, right? And that will then give us our next one there. And of course, let me just kind of fix this up a little bit here. I'm putting some spaces there and make it kind of look like a word there, but you get the idea. It's because I'm just typing in gobbledygook here. It's you know, stretching out like that. I mean, I could maybe click onto here and go back to left alignment and be done with it. That's fine too. Anyway, so you see how that lines up. Then I can go to the end of this one here, do another shift enter, and do something like that. So a lot of times you might want to kind of change it up a little bit, not have a bullet for every single, you know, line that you have, you know, new line that you have there. So do it like that. Okay, now let me, since this is kind of occupying 2 pages here, I'm going to zoom out here a little bit so we can actually see them side by side. Yeah, a little bit more here. All right, so it might be a little out of focus there, but you know, you'll see what we have here. Now, the deal here is, and actually what I can do too, I'll just do this. I'm going to go to the beginning of there, do a control enter, right? Force it onto the next page. That'll fix that. So I want you to be able to see this. So let me just zoom back in again now. All right. So now you're looking at this and it looks fine. I can't read it, but it looks fine. And you decide that you want a completely different set of numbering in here. You know, maybe what you like to have in here is a mixture of Arabic, Roman, or Alpha, whatever it is. But you want to kind of change what you're using at each of these levels. Okay. Now, one way of making, or actually probably the only way to do this, would be to select what you have so far. So this whole area right here. So technically, let me just point this out. What you're looking at here is what we call a multi-level list. That's what this one here is. That's a multi-level list. So you look at that, there we have it. So we got all these different ones in here, all right, to choose from. But I want to go a step further and not have to choose any of these, but you know, come up with my own list, all right? So what we do here is we select the area, all right? And then what we'll do is go into the multi-list area here, this one right there, click onto that, and tell it that I want to define a new multi-level list. So I click onto that. Well, for some reason, when I try to select it, it's not bringing up the menu. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm just going to click somewhere on it, all right? And then I'm going to go back and click on that little drop down and go down to define new multi-level list, and that brings up the window. So I don't know if it might be something on my machine. I don't know. Try it. If you have difficulty, then do it this way and it'll work fine. So what's happening here is we can have up to 9 levels, all right? So level 1 is using the Arabic, and that's what you see right here. Level 2 is using the Alpha, that's what you're seeing here. And level 3 is using the Roman, all right? So that's what we have. So you might say, well, I think what I'll do is on number 1, you know, on the first level, I want to make that Arabic, or make that Roman. So we'll go over here and we'll change that to Roman, just like that. And what you can also do is, so that'll be the code. I don't know if you can see that kind of grayed out there, but that's the code. And then there's a period in there, and that's what's giving us the period. Now, if you thought it might be kind of cool maybe to have maybe 2 periods in there for whatever reason, right? You can actually go right next to it there, put another period in there, right? And that'll work. All right, so that would be the first level. All right, now the second level, let's go down to that one. And on the second level, we can then say, okay, I think on this one, I want to go with numeric, right? So we'll go ahead and we'll click onto there. Oh, I'm not numeric, Arabic. So then we'll go ahead and choose the 1, 2, 3. And on this one too, for what, just for kicks, just so you can see this, I'll put another period in there as well. All right. And then we'll go to number 3 here. And on this one, I'm going to pick a different, just a character type bullet. So if I go a little bit further down here, you'll see a number of different ones in here. So if you don't like any of those, oh, there's my little spider, right, that we did. If you don't like any of those, you can go to new picture here, right? Oh, actually, no, new picture, sorry. Don't want that one. Go back in there and we can go with bullet. We got the bullet circle there. And we got the diamond. There it is. I didn't go far enough. So there's new bullet. And I can find a bullet that I want, right? So I might say, well, I just want to do maybe the, you know, this one here, right? Hit OK. There it is. And then I can go ahead and hit OK. Now I'm all done here. Hit OK. And there it goes. Kind of interesting. Now you're going to notice a little bit of a problem here. And that is the spacing is a little bit off here. And I'm sure it's partly due to the fact that I added that extra period in there. But you'll notice how these are lined up pretty well. But then you look at this down here. This is off a little bit, and so is this other one here. We can actually fix that by adding a little bit extra space in there. Now, what we could do, I mean, if this was it, this is all you had, we could select this area here and then go ahead and move these around to get it to line up better. We can do that. Or we can actually go back into that dialog box we saw earlier and kind of fix it there as well. So we do it both ways. Now, if I did it this way, what I would do is I'd select maybe these two here, right? And I'll say, well, maybe what I'll do is I'll take this middle one here, which is where the paragraph is at, and I'll take that and I'll move it out just a little bit like this, right? Just give it, give it enough to where it kind of, oop, messed it up there. Pull that over a little bit like that. Let go. Not too bad. Now, I'd want to have that same thing for this level here too. So it looks like, well, we'll kind of make it even here. So we'll kind of maybe bring it right to there. Okay. So we got it at 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 2 and 5, right? So then we'll go to this one here, all right? And this is at 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's move this over to 5. There we go, right? Then we go to this one here, all right? 2, and then we can bring that over 1 notch, and there we've got that fixed up. So that works out better. The other thing with this one here, we can just select those two, all right? And you can see that something's going wrong, something's going amiss there, right? So I just go ahead and select that, all right? And what I can do here is I can just kind of move this back a little bit like that, and that kind of catches a little bit better. And I think maybe what we'll do is we'll take, that's where the bullet's at, so this will be where the paragraph is at. So pull that out a little bit like that, see? Because remember, the middle one is moving the paragraph, the top one moves the bullet. So kind of customize it yourself. I mean, you could do it like that, or like I said, we could go in to the dialogue here, like that one right there, and click onto these, and then redo this numbering, see? So on here, we've got the indent, the text indent, the bullet for this first level is at 1/2 inch, and that's what it's or 1/4 inch, that's what it's showing there, right? 1/4 inch. There's a half, here's a quarter, right? And then the text is at 1/2 inch from that point, see? So to me, that's a little bit more confusing. I'd rather, do it this way. So after I've got it all fixed up, then I can kind of move things around. But that's how you want to do this. So good. So I think this should give you some good ideas as far as working with your bullets and your multi-level list. But hopefully this will help you out, and I appreciate you watching the video. Take care.